Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. One person talked. I appreciate that. I know you're there. I can see you eating, okay? But I'm not going to hold that against you. Before I say anything formal, I need to know how many people here have heard the dice briefing other than the bearded wonder. Okay? He's the only one I know that's heard it other than Joe. Nobody else has ever heard it, okay? Let me quickly bring you up to speed as to what we're going to be doing here. I've been told I have 45 minutes, so guess what? We're going to talk just a little quicker than I normally do, all right? DICE is the only subliminal counterintelligence awareness program in the United States government today. I personally created this program back 1 October 1989. What I do throughout my entire presentation is I take the figure of dice, I take the word dice, I place it into your subconscious. So that from this moment forward, anytime you see a die or a pair of dice, you can think about spying, you think about security, you think about espionage. Worst case scenario is you're going to start thinking about me, but you'll quickly get over that, okay? It's just a glitch in the program, and every program that somebody creates has a glitch in it. It's just one of those things in life. Now, I did this for a reason. I've been an agent since 10 September 1971, and I got tired of talking and nobody remembered the next day who I was or what I had to say. With this program, from this moment forward, you will remember it. You're getting a briefing right now for life. You just don't know it. And I know there's some of you out there saying, get out of here, this isn't going to work with me. NLP teaches you if somebody resists the planting of an anchor the way I plant this, that it gets planted quicker and deeper than those willing to accept it. So you naysayers, knock yourself out. It's not going to work with you. Go ahead and fight it. I don't care. And you're all going to know that this program is successfully anchored in your subconscious when you leave here, whether it be this evening going home, tomorrow morning coming in, next weekend. I don't care. It's going to happen to you. You're going to be driving along in your car. You're going to come up to a stop sign or a red light. You're going to look at the car left or right of you, and there's a chance you're going to see hanging from the rearview mirror of somebody's car a pair of fuzzy dice. And the first time this happens after this presentation, one or two things are going to occur. You're either going to put a smile on your face, you're going to put a smirk on your face. You're going to smile if you like what I just did to you. You're going to smirk if you hate what I just did to you. But know this, when it happens, I got you. And it's the gotcha that counts. As an intelligence officer, a professional bad guy, because that's exactly what I am. I'm a professional bad guy. I'm not a bad guy to the United States of America because I work for the United States intelligence community. But I've been around the world 3 times. I've talked to everybody twice. And my job has always been to go out there and meet people, okay? That's the key here. And as an agent, I'm going to tell you what we know for a fact. When you are at work, when you are here, and you're not stuffing your faces, that you're really doing work, that is when you're at your very, very best. You don't get any better than when you're at work. Doesn't that scare you, knowing some of the people you work with here, that you'll never see them any better? Terrifying in some cases, huh? Makes you wonder how they get home at night, huh? But that's why we have a lot of carpools. We help them out. Just sit in the back, I'll get you home. The other thing we know is professional bad people. We know that the further you get away from where you work, the lower your awareness gets. When you play, that's when we go to work. I want you playing. That's when I'm going to be able to pick your brain. And don't even act as if there aren't people out there wanting to pick your brain. You work here. You know what you do. Better yet, so do the bad guys. And when I'm talking bad guys, I'm not just talking about foreign countries. Oh, yeah, there's always foreign countries out there. That's not the ones that I'm really concerned with. The ones I'm concerned with are the volunteer spy, the insider. And I'm going to give you this snippet right up front. There is a recent study that was just conducted on stealing economic, industrial espionage, intellectual property. They estimated in this most recent study, which was just published yesterday, I believe, over $300 billion being stolen. And the majority of it being done by the insider, by the person that we trust. Now, I'm not telling you this so, you just look at the other person and go, you a spy? There's not a spy behind every rock and tree. A rational person realizes there's a spy behind every other rock and tree, okay? That's where they're at. They're not everywhere, but they are out there. You are the checks and balances against bad people. I hope you realize that. I don't know about any of you, but I'm personally sick and tired of bad people living a good life. I want them getting up early. I want them fighting traffic. I want them going to meetings that accomplish nothing. I want them paying taxes. I want them as miserable as me. And we're not making them do that because we just always look the other way. We always give people the benefit of the doubt. It's got to stop. when you're trying to protect this facility here for Lockheed Martin, you got to get involved, each and every one of you. Now, I know there's a heck of a lot more people than what's here in this room. You need to get that word down to them. Every one of you has to get involved to make a difference. And God bless you. That's what we try and do with the DICE program. Now, every year what I try and do is update the DICE program. I can't go through what you've missed up to this point. I'm kind of giving you the best of with heavy emphasis on DICE 97. Please keep in mind, there's the fiscal year, there's the calendar year, there's the DICE year. The DICE year goes from 1 April to 1 April. I thought April Fool's Day was an appropriate day to try and do this. You will get DICE 97, and I labeled DICE 97 this year the Wrath of DICE. In the future, you'll look forward to the Son of DICE, DICE the Musical, Deep Space DICE, DICE Next Generation, Cyber DICE, Virtual DICE, the DICE Nader, Crimson DICE, DICE with a Vengeance, just to name a few. We have to do this once a year, at least on my part. I at least try and have a little bit of fun with it, okay? Because I learned a long time ago, if you have a little bit of fun, you're going to learn something. You're going to retain it. That's the most important thing. But don't you let anybody in the government know we had fun. Because if the government finds out we were having fun, we're in a heap of trouble. And you know that. Because you cannot have fun on the job. You must be punished. You must be miserable. And you must like it. And I just refuse to do that. I subtitled it Denies, Lies, and Spies. When you catch somebody doing something wrong, what's the first thing they do? Don't they deny it? Sure, and the more you question them, the more they lie about it. You're making me lie. If you stop asking me, I already denied it. You know that's a lie. So anything I say on top of it is going to be more of a lie. And we always have spies. And that's kind of like the theme. Every year I try and have a theme of where we're going. I call it the Wrath of DICE because that's exactly what we have to have. We have to have more reporting. We need you to tell us who the bad people are so people like Joe Finelli and his security crew, they can do something about it. Without you helping them, they can't do anything. And you know, if they're not doing anything like that, they're not working. They're not earning their money. So I want you to work them to death. Okay? That's what I want you to do. I want you to report. Keep them busy. What does DICE stand for? DICE stands for Defensive Information to Counter Espionage. Espionage is what's destroying national security. Not subversion, not sedition, not treason. Just plain old stick them in the throat espionage. And the more I give my presentation, the more I have people come up to me and they'll give me that knowing wink like I'm a used car salesman. Like, yeah, right, get out of here, espionage. The Cold War's over. I don't care about the Cold War. Are you kidding me? What a narrow view. Espionage has been around forever and will continue to be around. The oldest known intelligence service to mankind. You all know who it is, right? The Chinese. The Chinese intelligence service has been practicing espionage since 500 BC. Now, some of you might say, wow, that's a long time ago. You're wrong. That's a long time ago. We're only 221 years old as a country. They've been doing this since 500 BC. Are they good at what they do? Oh, yeah. They're very good at what they do. So much so that we don't even know how they do it. So how can you fight something you don't even understand the method of operation and how they go about doing it? And you know why we don't know? Because they've never trained any other country. We have either trained a country, Russia has trained a country, or Great Britain has trained a country's intelligence service. But China, nobody's ever taught them anything, and they have never taught any other country anything. China can keep a secret. Isn't that scary? Yeah. And I've always said the only way 3 people can keep a secret in America is if 2 of them are dead. I mean, let's face it, we cannot keep a secret. Oh, wait, and if we try, somebody always leaks it. It is downright scary. So that's what I'm trying to do with this type of program, and I know some of you are sitting there going, well, how good a program can this be? You said you started it in 1989. This is 1998, and I've never heard about it. None of you in this room have heard about it up until today. It can't be very good, huh? What impact has it had on the world? I'll let you judge this for yourself. 2 weeks after the first DICE briefing was made, the Berlin Wall came down. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think a defector is going to come out and say, hey, wouldn't have been for that subliminal counterintelligence force program, we wouldn't have had to do some of the things we did. But think about it. Is it in any country's best interest to be considered an enemy of the United States of America? What do we give our enemies? Drop a couple bombs on them, embargo them here, stop food from going there. We kind of make their life miserable, huh? Is it in any country's best interest to be a friend? Huh? Yeah. What do we give our friends? Just about anything they want. You're our friend. You wouldn't hurt me. You're my friend. That's what I do. When I go around the world and I'm working for the United States intelligence community, I make friends wherever I go. Because I am the least threatening person you will ever meet in your life. Because if I was threatening to you, you'd never even talk to me. I mean, think about it up to the point that you are in your life. I don't care what your age is. Who's always hurt you the most? Hadn't always been somebody close to you? Who stole your first girlfriend in high school? Wasn't it your best friend? Sure it was. Who sold your first wife? Wasn't it your best friend? Of course it was. Now, I hope I didn't hit close to home on either one of those, okay? I didn't want to rip your heart open, but think about it. Total strangers don't do this. It's always somebody close to you. If you have something I want, I'm going to become your friend. It's just that simple. It's professional, not personal. That's what you have to understand when it comes to collecting. Do you have adversaries? I won't use the word enemy. I mean, you're Lockheed Martin. Everybody in the world respects you. Everybody wants you to continue living a good lifestyle, having one of the best jobs in America. They're not trying to take anything away from you, would they? Yeah, not unless they could. Yeah. And there wouldn't be anybody here who maybe has a bone to pick with the company because they feel like they've been passed over. Yeah, that hurt, didn't it? Yeah, no, I saw that burp. I thought it was going to explode there for a minute. Yeah, I mean, there isn't somebody here that's disgruntled or revengeful that maybe might sell the whole company out from underneath you. And they won't do the whole company, but they'll just do it in bits and pieces because if you have one bad person here, see, it doesn't take a whole lot of bad people. Just one here, one there, maybe down in Dallas, Texas. I've been down there and talked to the Lockheed Martin facility down there. I get around to punish quite a few of you people. Just first time I've ever been invited up here. And trust me, I only go where I'm invited. And if you don't like anything that I say or my mere presence here, you make sure you take it out on Joe Finelli, because he's the one that lost his mind and invited me, okay? So I just like to give credit where credit's due. But espionage is destroying national security. Without national security, we have no foundation for anything. You must truly appreciate that. In Dice 97, you know what, I want to talk about females in espionage, but I can't. You know why? We don't have any females in prison for espionage. Does that mean females don't commit espionage? Oh, no. It just means you're real good at it. Yeah, and you females know that, huh? There isn't anything you can't get if you put your mind to it, is there? No piece of information you can't get your hands on, no material good you can't get your hands on. And guys, you just don't think about it. Like, no, they wouldn't use women in espionage, would they? We had G.I. Joe, all of a sudden they came up with G.I. Jane. We've had James Bond for how many decades, and nobody's come up with Jane Bond yet? I'm waiting for the movie, because it's out there. It's in real life. Women are so good at collecting. You better be aware of it. My wife has taught me these things. I mean, seriously, when my wife wants something, the only thing I can hope is it's not expensive. That's the only hope I have. Because I know she's going to get it, and so does she. Who am I kidding? I mean, the only difference between me dealing with my wife and me dealing with a terrorist, I can negotiate with a terrorist. There's no negotiation with my wife. I mean, we could play at it, but she's going to get it. And I've had women come up after the presentation, and believe me, this presentation is 2 hours plus, right? Yes, it is. He was punished with it. He just forgot his way to his office, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, for me to condense it into 45 minutes, it's really tough, so I'm picking and choosing. But, you know, women, they hear me talk about this, and they'll come up and they go, hey, you know, don't appreciate you telling everybody how good we are. You know what I mean? Because the element of surprise is gone. And I've had some women come up and say, you think you know everything, right? You don't know anything. You know where we go to find out any information on anything going on in the communities where we live? And I'm thinking, the internet. That's where everybody goes when you want to find out information, right? This is wrong. Hairdresser, beauty parlor. Huh? That's where they go. That hairdresser knows everything and passes it along. It is absolutely amazing. So always remember this. Before there was an internet, there was a hairnet. Okay? And there will always be a hairnet. So please keep that in mind. Espionage is here. No country can survive by closing its eyes to what its neighboring country is doing. You have to know what's going on, to include us. Remember this, and this is indisputable. Our country was founded on people who stole everything they'd get their hands on and brought it to this country that became the United States of America. There was nothing here. There was not a 7-Eleven. There was not a gas station. There was nothing. We didn't have textile. We didn't have silk. We didn't have anything in this country. People came from all over and stole everything they can get their hands on and brought it here, and we became the most powerful, influential country in the world. Thank goodness no other country will follow that example. We broke the mold after we did it, okay? So that's good. You know what I'd like to get back to in this country? Telling the truth. I really would. The truth is rarely told, and we don't care, do we? It's overrated. The truth is definitely overrated. I mean, everybody remembers Jack Nicholson sitting on the stand in that movie. Well, you can't handle the truth. Huh? Yeah, we can't. We think we can, but we can't. Can you imagine how all of us would be if we really got the true efficiency rating we deserved? Huh? Y'all get that inflated outstanding? You know you're not. Okay? But you really don't want to know the truth, do you? In fact, this almost created a cottage industry. We hire people to become truth managers, reality stylists. Don't be telling the truth. Just take a little bit of the truth and dress it up. And we don't care. I think we stopped telling the truth in this country when that television show went off the air. Don't even act like you didn't watch it, okay? That show was on for a long time. It went off the air. I think we stopped telling the truth. You know what the truth gets you in the government? Sensitivity training, okay? So don't be running right outside this store starting to tell everybody the truth. They really don't want to hear it. And my wife, again, taught me this. I'm sure none of you are going to find this hard to believe, but I was married for the second time. And when I got married, the second time I told my wife, I said, if you ever ask me a question, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, I'm going to tell you the truth because it's so much easier to just say the truth because I can always repeat the truth. Isn't the truth easy to repeat? Yeah. And when you start lying, you can't remember what you said. So I told her, so I'm not going to try and hurt your feelings on purpose, but sometimes because of my job and what I do, I have to tell the truth. She said, sure, no problem. So shortly after we were married, a couple years afterwards, we finally got invited to a Christmas party. In fact, it was the last one we were invited to. And we went to, she was all excited. She went out and got a brand new outfit. She's in the bathroom for 90 minutes getting ready for this big occasion because the first time she's ever going to meet people in the intelligence community. She comes out of the bathroom, stands in front of me, and looks at me and says, how do I look? And I mean, I looked at her, and she was beautiful. She picked out an outfit that fit her to a T. And I said, the outfit looks dynamite on you. I said, but before I say anything more, answer this question. Are you going to do anything more with your hair, or is that the way you're going to leave it? It's happened, huh? Yeah. All of a sudden, that beautiful smile left her face. She looked at me like she's shooting daggers into me. She's saying, why? I said, wait a minute, you're not answering the question. Why are you getting so offensive here? I said, are you going to do anything more? She says, no, I was going to leave it this way. I wouldn't if I were you. And I told her what to do because she had a dull spot. You know, sometimes you miss it. She didn't brush it out all the way. I was trying to help her. I thought that's why she asked me. All of a sudden, she goes storming back into the bathroom. I wait a couple seconds. I go in after her. And now she's standing in front of the sink looking in the mirror. So for me to look her in the eye, I have to look in the mirror. You know that routine. Don't act like you haven't been there. And I see a tear going down her eye, and I feel kind of bad. And I said, Randy, did you look in the mirror before you came out and asked me how you look? She said, yes. I said, did you like what you saw? She said, yes. I said, then why did you have to take the chance of coming out and asking me and spoiling the whole evening? Huh? I told you the truth, and now we're going to have a lousy time. But that's it. That truth, people don't want to hear it, but we got to hear it. The truth is tough. But if we don't know how bad we're being had in this country, guess what? We're setting ourselves up for a fall. And I'm not ready to give it up as the most powerful, influential country in the world. I am going to make a difference. I am going to go after the bad people. Joe Finelli and his security staff want to go after the bad people. They want to make sure you have a job for as long as you want it. That's what this is all about. Now, not that this is important. Everybody's going to send me a Christmas card at the appropriate time, but my name is Ray Semko. I happen to be a counterintelligence officer / special agent with the Department of Energy's Office of Counterintelligence. I work out of the 4-star building in Washington, D.C. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Yada, yada, yada. Thank you very much. There's only 3 ways to discover espionage. Best way, of course, is penetrate, and espionage, extra detective investigation. Last but not least, educate. 1/3 the possible ways we can never hope to discover espionage is through education. And I got 45 minutes to make believers out of you. Isn't that something? I mean, yeah, this is something we have to do. There's not a guard, gate, or gun in the world that's ever stopped anybody from committing espionage, and never will. Bad people are not afraid of guards, gates, and guns. We've never caught them with that. You are what they're afraid of. And yet, the attendance here, I'm blown away. Of course, I don't know why all these empty chairs are up here and you guys are standing, but that's your prerogative. I mean, if you want to come on down, fine. I don't spray, okay? But education is the key. We send people to learn how to do computer graphics for 2 weeks, a month at a time. Nobody sees a waste out of that. But to educate people as to protecting their sensitive, their proprietary, and their unclassified information, we think that's an inconvenience. No wonder the bad guys have such a good life. You know who believes in security more than any other group in this world? Bad guys. Criminals believe in good security because they know without it, they're going to get caught. And none of them truly want to go to prison. Try and penetrate a gang. See how hard it is to get in. And if they catch you trying to penetrate and you're a good guy, you're dead. See, they don't just say, oh, well, better luck next time. Now go home and do something else. No, they play for keeps. So why would us, as honest, trustworthy individuals, act as if security is an inconvenience? This is scary. We're playing right into their hands. It's not an inconvenience. Think about this, please. Your job affords you to have your house or apartment, wherever you choose to live, a car, clothes, food that you can put on the table for your family. You don't have your job, you can't do a lot of those. You have to make major adjustments. So why would you treat job security any less? It's the most important thing you're going to do. Your job allows you to have health insurance. You need to stop the bad guy, the internal spy, the volunteer spy, from doing damage to this company. You guys ready to have 2/3 of the workforce laid off because all of a sudden everything you were protecting was given away? I don't think anybody's here to do that. I can give you horror story after horror story of companies in the United States government, not in the government per se, but in America, that have lost their entire livelihood because of a volunteer spy, someone they trusted. Scary. In the area of penetration, we talk about defectors, talk about double agent operations. We have more defectors than ever before. We keep on getting more defectors, and because of the amount of defectors we have more espionage cases opened by the FBI than ever before. It's scary. We have over 1,000 that we know about. What's really scary? Can you imagine how many we don't have a clue about? If we know about a little over 1,000, what's out there that we don't have a clue what's going on? And people defect to the United States of America because we put them under the Witness Protection Program. They live in America in single-dwelling homes. They take care of their families. That's why they defect, and that's why they give us the best information possible. So if you're a bad guy out there, you better think about it. Or let's say a bad person. You better think about it before the next defector comes out and puts an end to your espionage career. In the area of investigation, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't that word have a bad connotation to it? If it was an espionage investigation right here, Lockheed Martin, in Valley Forge, wouldn't everybody be walking on eggs and nobody know anything? I mean, if the FBI came in and they asked the Department of Energy, like myself, to come in and help them, I pulled out my badge and credentials, walked into your office and said, excuse me, Nova, I don't know if you remember me or not, but my name is Ray Semko. I'm with the Department of Energy, Office of Counterintelligence. I need to talk to you about an incident. Is there someplace we can go talk in private, please? No matter who I would do that to, the first thing that's going to happen is blood's going to drain from his face. He's going to get weak in the knees because he knows he's guilty of something. He just doesn't know what I want, right? Aren't we all guilty of something? Even now he wonders why I picked on him. His brain's going back to everything he's ever done he was never caught for. Yeah, and he's going, oh, don't worry, your secret's safe with me. I won't tell anybody. But you shouldn't have done it. And it's just really amazing the impact that badge has on people. But believe me, if you're not a spy, and we come in to talk to you under the guise of national security, you have nothing to be afraid of. We're only there for espionage to protect our national security. So please cooperate with us, but yet people still don't want to do it. Anybody here that doesn't have a clearance? Anybody? Okay, we got one person that doesn't have a clearance. Okay, so, all right, two. I appreciate it. Some of you wouldn't raise your hand if I gave you $20, huh? All of you with a clearance, you know that we've done a background investigation on you. There's no rock left unturned. There's no skeleton in your closet we don't know anything about, right? And you all know that's a lie, don't you? In fact, some of you can't even believe you have a clearance. You know who you are. Yeah, they must have had an idiot check me out, man. I don't know how I got it. But yeah, that's how it is. So, what I want people to understand is we know this. So, when we come up and we start asking questions, please tell us what you know, what you think you know. If we only gave security clearances, people walk straight and narrow, didn't veer left or right, didn't have any idiosyncrasies in their background, there'd only be about 5 or 6 of us working for the United States government that had a security clearance. And we cannot run the government on a skeleton crew that way, now can we? But no matter how much I tell people this, they still don't want to cooperate. So, hey, in 1993, I had to share something personal about myself. It wasn't anything I was proud of, but I thought it was necessary to make my point. You can have an idiosyncrasy and still have a clearance with the United States government. I've had a clearance since 1967. And I have an idiosyncrasy, and none of you can tell what it is. I'm standing here in front of you briefing. You're all looking at me, but yet none of you can tell that I'm standing here in front of you wearing black lace nylon panties. Can't tell that at all, huh? Does that make me a security risk? I don't think so. When did I start wearing them? I started wearing them the afternoon my wife found a pair in the glove compartment of my car. Whose are these? Mine. They better be. Now, I've been wearing them for a little over 8 years. Doesn't even bother me anymore, but yet people would see me and they'd go, whoa, you have a badge, you have a clearance? That's right, I'm not damaging national security. As hard as this is to believe, I have a personal life, and sometimes I screw it up. But I'm not damaging national security. And that's the problem, okay? That's what we need to focus on. Quit screwing up and clouding up the issue with all this stuff. Bottom line, cooperate with us, please. When you think of espionage, ladies and gentlemen, do you think about this? Sun Tzu said this, and Sun Tzu is a Chinese philosopher, okay? And Sun Tzu said in 500 BC the following. Make you think of any Americans? And every time I read this thing, it just blows my mind. Yeah, I'll hurt myself, I can tell that. Every time I read it, I still think, hey, a disgruntled, disenchanted, seek revenge against real imagined grievance, driven by money. So far, I hadn't even thought about anybody outside my immediate family. And I got them covered, okay? Yeah, like I'm the only one that comes from a dysfunctional family. Egotistical, subject to flattery, doesn't sound like too many Americans I know. If I know you're working on a project that I really want information on, I'm going to stroke you like you've never been stroked before. Again, I'll be the least threatening person you ever met. You will want to talk to me because my job is on the line. That's what we have to do. And this will never change. If I took Sun Tzu off of this and I said, hey, this was said by the French intelligence service last month about Americans, wouldn't you believe it? Doesn't it fit us to a T? This was said before America was even thought of. And when you think about China, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not afraid of China, you know why you're not afraid of China? Because you just don't know. But if you have to deal with China, if you go to China for any reason whatsoever, and you have not read this book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, you need to read it. The Art of War by Sun Tzu is mandatory reading. And if there's anybody under the age of 25, in fact, anybody under the age of 25 in this room? Can I see a show of hands? Hey, all right. We got some young people that are employed. That's good. Mandatory reading. You know why? You personally or your family in the future will deal with the Chinese. Let's act like they won't. Let's say, oh, there's a chance that you might. I'm telling you, you will. Because they have already said they're going to be a major force in the world by the year 2050. It's not going to take to 2050. Who are you kidding? China is so good at what they do. Remember when they were Red China in 1974? Red China. They changed the name. Okay? Because Red China is just ominous. People's Republic of China. So much easier to deal with. And they were communists at that time. You know what? They're still communists. Okay? A lot of people seem to forget that fact. 1979, the first exchange people came over. It's 1998, and look how far they've come. Oh, yeah. And if you did not read this in the paper, then you need to be made aware of it. It happened on the 19th of September in the USA Today. It's page 6, so you don't think I'm making this up. I got my witness right there. And it says here, China's working on ways to win war with U.S. How many people read that article? China's working on ways to win war with U.S. Oh, please be honest with me. If anybody read this, see, this is how they get over. Nobody pays attention to it. This got my attention. Now, I've always known this because I'm on the inside. But, ooh, that was really sensitive, wasn't it? You need to know about this. When's the last time you saw a headline that says China wins war with U.S. or working on ways to win war with U.S.? Don't you think this would have been like front page news? Oh, no, not in America. We have other things that are much more important, like the headlines in this issue was speeding in America. But let me tell you what these guys are saying. Chinese military is developing ways to overcome America's high-tech weaponry and defeat the United States in a future military face-off. Pentagon analysts told the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Thursday. So the Senate knows. They can't say they don't know. Senate Representative Shelby states, and this is in quotes, China poses the greatest intelligence challenge to the United States because as an emerging economic and military power, China has the option, increasingly the will, to challenge vital U.S. interests around the globe, unquote. Remember when Russia used to have that? Russia used to go around and challenge us everywhere we went. We'd go, country, stop that. And Russia would say, you leave them alone. They can do anything they want. Well, now China's going to take over that role. But the harshest assessment came from Michael Pillsbury, an expert on China at the Pentagon National Defense University. He said, his translations of Chinese military publications show remarkably accurate descriptions of weaknesses in U.S. weapons. Makes you wonder how they learn stuff like that, huh? I guess they just must read Jane's Defense Weekly and stuff like that, huh? They do. Trust me, they do. Every country in the world reads that. That's the best information going. And a common theme, Pillsbury said, is Chinese military viewed in America as a declining power, but with 2 or 3 decades of primacy left. He said they believe U.S. military forces, while dangerous at present, are vulnerable, even deeply flawed, and can be defeated with the right strategy. That strategy involves using new technology to defeat the superior with the inferior. Is that a good line? Defeat the superior, which is us, with the inferior, which is them. It comes right out of Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu says the best way to win a war is never fire a single shot. They don't want a war. They just want to win. Win, baby, at all costs. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. That's what this is telling you. If you read this book and you're not afraid, then reread it. Turn the television off this time and concentrate. Okay? And I guarantee you, this book will make an impression on you. And there's another book you can read if you're really getting into it, especially if you're going to China. It's called Chinese Intelligence Operations. Both of these I will leave up here if somebody wants to come up and get the titles. I'm not trying to make these people money. I'm just telling you this is the information that's out there. And I know how this book was written, and it's worth reading. If you're dealing with the Chinese, mandatory reading. It's the only way you're going to survive it, because they count on you being stupid, gullible, and naive. When we talk about espionage, have we caught anybody? Well, this is who we caught at the end of 1996. These individuals there. And that's scary. I know you know about all of them because they were covered in all the newspapers. How many people read about Eric Genote? I know you didn't. Eric Genote, these are the ages of the individuals when we captured them, okay, when we caught them. 20 years of age. The 20-year-old, you know what he wanted to do? Maybe you can help me with this. You're not biased, okay? I'll tell you what he did. You tell me what he should have been charged with. He broke into Pentagon computers, gave a secret computer password to a Chinese national hoping to gain favor with the Chinese government because he wanted to defect to China. Most of you think that was espionage? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to tell you I thought it was espionage. I mean, I've only been doing this as an agent for 26 years, a little over 26 years. I thought it was espionage. You know what he was convicted of? Damaging government property and computer fraud. Yeah. How do you get that? You know how you get that? That's how powerful the Chinese are. My entire DICE anthology is on videotape. Every year there's a copy of the videotape that I gave out. You can order it yourself by dialing 1-800-MELLOW-PERVERT. And in 1991, 1992, I told people then that China's conducting an espionage campaign against the United States of America that dwarfs anything the former Soviet Union ever did to us. It is absolutely massive. You can't even begin to appreciate. First off, understand there's 1.2 billion people in China. They have a military that's unbelievable, and it is growing daily, and their intelligence service has always been active. They're not stupid. They're very, very good at what they do. So, yeah. And speaking in public is one of the most dangerous things you could do. And to give you an idea, I gave a 2-hour presentation. I had an older woman come up to me and say, young man, that slide you showed were all the spies that we caught? I said, yes, ma'am, I remember that slide. She said, do you know your numbers aren't lined up? After 2 hours, this is what she saw, okay? The fact that these weren't lined up. I didn't even know how to answer that. I just looked at her and said, does the word retentive have any special meaning to you? The next guy here, Robert Kim, he's a Navy spy. Is it me, or have you noticed the same thing, that the Navy donates a spy every year, whether we need one or not? Yeah, yeah. Philip Selden, here's a 36-year-old former captain in the United States Army. He committed espionage. You know who he did it with? El Salvador. How many people would have said El Salvador if I'd given you the rest of the week to come up with a country, huh? El Salvador? What can El Salvador possibly do with our information? Oh, yeah, sell it. They could sell it to another country, see? There isn't any country that's going to turn down any of your information, especially in what you guys do, because there's always a buyer out there. It's a gross national product. Never underestimate anybody. And you know how we caught this guy? A polygraph examination. How many people here have been polyed? Hey, all right. Yeah, that's good. That's one of the best responses I've ever seen. Those of you who haven't been polyed, it's coming. And I didn't say that to scare you, because you shouldn't be afraid unless you're a spy. If you're a spy, be terrified, because we will catch you. Let me tell you something. When you get strapped up, and it's a counterintelligence scope poly, not lifestyle poly, right? They don't make you take a lifestyle poly, do they? Because hey, most of you couldn't pass that, huh? You know it, yeah. But that's the scope poly. Unless you're a spy, don't worry about it. When they hook you up, and they put that on your fingers, and they get that under your arm, and they've got that around your chest, the truth oozes from every pore in your body, all right? But don't be afraid unless you're a spy. Then be very afraid. Nicholson committed espionage with the Russians. $224,000 he gave them cover names of CIA agents. That's what he gave up. Cover names. He signed their death warrant. He was a GS-15 for $224,000, which, you know, I don't trust most people as far as I can throw them. If this guy's willing to do that to his own people, what's left? And Edwin Pitts, an FBI spy. See, we're kind of represented there pretty well, huh? Yeah, we got a little bit of everybody there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just who we caught. Like I told you, we have over 1,000 cases open, and some of these cases are very hard to put. Nicholson got 24 years in prison. Pitts got 27 years in prison because the judge was really mad at him, okay? And it's really scary. When you think about threats, ladies and gentlemen, please think about all these threats to your well-being, to your family's well-being. If you're not afraid of domestic terrorism, then you just haven't been paying attention. Domestic terrorism is on the rise. Make no ands, ifs, or buts about it. If you are coming into your facility and you see what appears to be a bomb, do not touch it. I'm trying to help you here. All right? And you say, well, who would be that dumb? Well, 25 June 1997, 3 bombs were found in Bernalillo, a little town north of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the guy found the first one. You know where he found it? Newspaper stand. He went to get the newspaper. You know how y'all do? Put the money in, open the door, get the paper. He reached in to get the paper. It felt heavy, like 10 pounds, he said. So we looked in between the pages to see if it was a brick air holder or something like that with sticks of dynamite connected with wire. So you know what he does? He takes the paper with the bomb out of the newspaper stand, walks to his pickup truck, puts it in the front seat of his pickup truck, and drives the bomb to the police station. Do not do this. You cannot make this up. Okay? Domestic terrorism is at an all-time high. It's going to increase. And the only way we find out who the domestic terrorist people are is because other people who know them come in and tell us. Yeah, we have militia groups all over this country. How many people here belong to a militia? You can, you know. You can belong to any militia group you want. That's your right as a United States citizen. Please don't let it go by. If it turns out to be a domestic terrorism group instead of a militia group protecting our country, then come on in and talk to the proper authorities on that. But we need to find these people out before they do some very bad things. And what we have found, let me tell you something, we have found so many bombs that were being placed that did not explode. We could spend the rest of the day talking about those. Those bombs that don't explode, it is scary. They're placed, you know where the majority of them are placed? IRS facilities. I know, like, what's the problem here? Yeah. That's not it. But it is scary. Biological and chemical, please, please. Gas, this biological chemical threat is really terrifying. If you've never been gassed and you have no idea how terrifying it is, if they use biological chemical warfare, the good news, you'll be dead and you won't even know it. But it will be absolutely devastating. So if you know anybody, if you know of somebody, if anybody's talking about it, you make sure you get that information to the right authorities. You better be afraid of criminals because criminals are not afraid of going to jail. Not at all. I mean, in this country, this is the country to get arrested in. I told the morning audience, I said there was an individual in Baltimore that was sentenced to life in prison plus 20. He's eligible for parole in 5 years. This new math stinks, okay? I don't know how you get that, but that's what's going on. Criminals know this. The worst thing that's going to happen to a criminal in America, when they get arrested, they're going to get a lawyer. That's the worst thing that happens to a criminal in America. That's why they're not afraid. I'm a Vietnam veteran. Let's say I have a Vietnam flashback, which I've been known to have. I pull out my gun and I just shoot you. Nothing personal, okay? But you're dead. They can go get security. Security can arrest me. They can arraign me. They put me in front of a judge. Judge tells me I go up for sentencing. All I got to do is get a fast-talking lawyer and a stupid judge. Ito. If he was that good, he'd have wrote a book. But, yeah, I'm free, and you know it. You know why? You did it to me. You sent me over there when I was 19 years old. How'd you expect me to handle death, despair, and destruction? It's your fault. Not mine. Nothing's anybody's fault anymore, huh? There's always extenuating circumstances. We got to take responsibility. And if nothing else, remember con artists. Con artists are living off of our elderly people. If you have any elderly people in your family living by themselves, please make sure you make this point clear to them. If they are called up on the phone and told they have just won a prize, they are not to send any money to get that prize. If they are asked to prepay taxes or anything like that, that is against the law. It is a scam. Somebody says you want a prize, you get that prize, period. Do not have them sending money in because they are con artists. It's a $40 billion a year business in this country. Diseases, there's more diseases around this world. How many of you travel outside the United States of America? Okay? If you travel outside the United States of America, please, by all means, make sure your shot record's up to date. And when you get to these foreign countries, be careful. Don't drink the water. Okay? I'm telling you this for your own protection. And when you tell me, oh, I only drink bottled water, get out of here. I know better. You know, when they say bottled water, they go in the back, they fill up the bottle, put the cap on, take it out, they open it for you so you don't crimp the cap. Try and open that bottle of water, see if they let you. Okay, they always have it just tipped, okay, so that they can reuse the cap. And don't brush your teeth with the water. First thing you do, get up, turn the spigot, put your toothbrush underneath there. Put it in your mouth, sick. You've never experienced anything unless you have a case of dysentery. Dysentery will make a believer out of you. Anybody had dysentery besides me? Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Something like you never went again, huh? Yep. So how do you survive in a foreign country? Scotch. Just trying to help you here, okay? Okay, Joe, do I get to go to 12:35 because I started 5 minutes late? Okay, that's it. I got 5 more minutes to wrap this up. But I'm not telling you this to drink, okay? I'm not advocating drinking because I don't drink. Well, I do drink. I only drink on days that end with a Y. But please remember that, okay? Successful people are a threat to you. What do you think rich and powerful people would do to keep that power and to keep that money? There ain't anything they wouldn't do, huh? Remember when you fly first class, you always look forward to going back to coach, don't you? Yeah, right. And that's the problem with this stuff, okay? Nobody ever wants to be in a fair fight. They want all the information they can get their hands on. When I talk about biological, chemical, please make sure you understand this. These are the countries that have the capability of delivering biological and chemical warfare. Now, none of these countries should surprise you, but I just want to refresh your memory as to who has this capability, because the only one we think about is Iraq. Hey, there's Iran, and Iran wants to be our friend, huh? You know what Iran was doing on the 4th of November? They were burning effigies of Uncle Sam, and they were burning the American flag, and they were talking about death to America because they were celebrating the anniversary of the takeover of our embassy in Iran. That's what Iran thinks about us. So never let your guard down. You want a trip to the Middle East? Give it to somebody you don't like. Okay? Guaranteed. I guess the good news here is all these countries now have stable leadership, so maybe we've dodged that bullet. I don't know. But you got to keep that in mind. When you think about two countries, and I want you to think about Russia, Russia is trying to restore the empire. China's going through a century of humiliation, and that century of humiliation is just about up. Remember when China went to sleep on the 30th of June, 1997? They went to sleep as Communist China. They woke up on 1 July, and they inherited Hong Kong, multi-billion-dollar infrastructure. Now, who do you think they're going to go after now that they have Hong Kong? Think it might be Taiwan? Sure. Count on it. Remember when they were using Taiwan for live target fire in that military exercise? Just shooting live rounds at Taiwan. And what was our response to the most powerful, influential country in the world? We sent that Navy ship over there, remember? And that Navy ship got to the strait, and they said, China, you better stop shooting at Taiwan, or we're going to send that ship straight up the strait. And China says, you better not send that ship up the strait. We said, we will if we want to. We just don't feel like it right now. That was a proud day. Yeah. Now, what are you trying to do? No, I can't go that far yet. Let me go ahead and show you some things. First off, if you have any anomalies that are occurring in Lockheed Martin, if you're dealing with anybody from a foreign country, anything that deviates from normal in this organization, go to Joe Finelli and his security staff. Please go to them. This is something that deviates from normal. Now, that's real hard to do in the government. I'm hoping Lockheed Martin you can do a little bit easier, all right? If you have any visitors or assignees to your organization, I don't care from what country it is, if they're doing anything that's strange or curious, you report that activity. I guarantee you, if you have somebody from a foreign country, I don't care if it's allied, heavy emphasis on the lies, they're going to be doing their dastardly deeds afterward. If you're hosting them, pay attention to who visits them. If they're on the internet all night long or faxing things back to their country 8 hours every night, that's an anomaly. We want to know about these things, okay? If you have a spy in this organization right here, they are exhibiting these indicators, okay? Now, one of these by itself, you mean you don't have one of these? How are you going to fight the bad guys if you don't have a death ray? One of these by itself could be nothing, two or three could be nothing, but one could be everything. What we ask people to do is please don't adjudicate. Please don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Please don't let Ames exist anymore. Ames is given the benefit of the doubt over and over and over. Abrupt, unexplained increase in wealth of material goods, you know who's doing that. Excessive greed will do anything for money. Doesn't sound like too many Americans I know, huh? They're there. We learned these from all the spies we put in jail. Here's more indicators. A pattern of recurring travel. People who travel once or twice a year to places like Toronto, Hong Kong, London, Vienna, Mexico City. That's where we found these people who are working with intelligence services from foreign countries. To go to New York and visit any of the embassies and or consulates there, just a piece of cake, isn't it? Repeat association with foreign nationals. Nothing I've said is intended to make you so paranoid the first foreign national you meet after this presentation comes up and tries to become your friend, you slap and create an international incident. So you say, wait for me. You think I'm stupid, gullible, and evil. I'm not, man. I'll turn you into that long-haired hippie freak. We don't want you to do that, okay? Be friends with these people. Just don't get... Here's my rule of thumb. If I meet anybody, I never tell them anything I would not want published in the front page of a major newspaper with me being the source providing that information. If you want people to know how bad Lockheed Martin is and all the fact that there's no money here and everybody's kind of down in the dumps and we're going to lose our jobs and the morale's this and that, then be proud to put your name on it. Other than that, don't say it. Disgruntled, revengeful. We have more and more of these people every day in this country. Now, we need you to report. We ask you to report, you won't. How many of you saw Jerry Maguire? Can I see a show of hands if you saw the movie Jerry Maguire? If you haven't seen Jerry Maguire, watch Jerry Maguire. What's the line that came out of the movie? Show me the money, right? Show me the money. That's exactly what we're going to do. You can actually win up to $500,000 if you give us information that leads to arrest, conviction of somebody in espionage. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, you will be taxed on this money, Okay? But it is open to all family members, and this is true. It's been on the books since January 1996, and it's still there. When have you ever had it? You come in, you do your work, we pay you this astronomical salary, and then you get to win the Espionage Lotto. Just turn them in. If they're bad, we'll know about it. In any country and any person, for conspiring or attempting to commit an act of espionage, and there's one more area you can win, leading prevention or frustration, the act of espionage against the United States. Your local FBI DECA, it's not DECA anymore, it's called ANSIR, A-N-S-I-R, Awareness National Security Issues and Response Team. Just call them up, say, I want to talk to the ANSIR person. You could win, please. What are you trained to do if somebody says, I know you work at Lockheed Martin, I know you work on this satellite project right here, and I know that you have access to this information, and I'm going to pay you more money if you work here for the next 20 years. What are you trained to do if somebody makes you an offer like that? We don't want you to say, no, get away from me. I'm going to turn you in. I've had the dice briefing. Don't want you to do that. On the other hand, we don't want you to say, yes, where have you been? It's going to cost you big bucks, baby. I've waited a long time for you. We don't want you to do that, okay? Key is remain non-committal. Report this type approach immediately to a security professional. You don't want to talk to Joe Finelli and his staff? Go to the FBI. There's nothing that stops any of us from going straight to the FBI. Report anything strange, curious, or suspicious. If you think it, ladies and gentlemen, that's good enough for us. We can take it from there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you work at this facility and you've been able to listen and eat at the same time like you just exhibited in the last 45 minutes, that you're above average intelligence. You know if I'm not talking about you. Why would you, with above average intelligence, look at something and say that's wrong and then try and talk stuff out of it as if you really didn't see what you saw? If you think it, come on in. If it's just JDLR is something we learned from Mississippi Sheriff. Had an FBI agent tell me the story. He says, I got a call one afternoon. Mississippi Sheriff calls him up, says, I need y'all come down here, pick up a couple Russians that are just arrested. The guy says, sure. So he goes down there. Sure enough, the Russians shouldn't have been where they were. And he goes to the sheriff, says, Sheriff, you did the right thing. Well, what made you do it? He said, JDLR. Dave said, excuse me? He said, just didn't look right. You in a heap of trouble in Mississippi if it just don't look right. Why can't you be in a heap of trouble in Lockheed Martin if it just don't look right here, okay? What's at risk in this country? Every idea that offers a competitive advantage to Americans is subject to theft, rather. If that continues to happen, it's going to be catastrophic for this country. It'll be catastrophic for Lockheed Martin. And remember in this country, when we used to have 4 major companies, you had Lockheed, you had Martin Marietta, you had Northrop, you had Grumman. Now we have Lockheed Martin, now we have Northrop Grumman, and Northrop Grumman is going to be taken in by Lockheed Martin. And y'all know what the new name is going to be called, right? EBB? Everybody but Boeing? I guess you guys just get the word, huh? It's the people of transfer of information that's killing us. My buddy Jim Dearlove from DIA told me that, and I believe it because I've been doing this long enough to know. We don't break into your safes. We get into your minds. You tell us what we need to know. We've asked you to do the right thing for a number of reasons. You won't do us. We're willing to pay you. Please do not turn somebody in, and then if you win the reward, say, oh, I didn't do it for the money. You keep it. You take that money. I don't want you saying, oh, give the money to my favorite charity. Remember this, charity begins at home, okay? I do not work for money. I'm almost 49 years of age. I'm not going to grow up and be anybody. I work to make a difference. I don't have to work for money because I retired from the military in 1988. I can live on my military retirement. I can only live in central Pennsylvania, but I can't live on my military retirement. I do live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I do not work for an efficiency rating because it's so inflated that it's just laughable. When Ames got an outstanding efficiency rating every year he was a spy, that kind of diluted mine. I don't need another human being to tell me whether I'm doing the right job or not. I know if I am, and so do you. I'm tired of being reactionary. I want to be progressive, proactive, pro-American. I've lived a good life, and I've done it as a United States citizen. And I think about all the people that sacrificed for me to be able to do the life I lived. My parents made sacrifices, my grandparents made sacrifices, but better yet, the people that made the most supreme sacrifice for me I never even met, and they were my great-grandparents that came from Czechoslovakia, because that's where my family tree goes back. That is my family tree. We all have one. But that's as far as it stops. If I ever met anybody from the Czechoslovakian intelligence service wanted me to do anything for them after I got through laughing at them, I'd say, I owe you nothing. I'm not a hyphenated American. I am an American. And when you've been away from this country as many years as I have, you can appreciate what you have in this country. But if you've never left our country, you have no idea how good we have it. We have a lot of competitors. We have a lot of adversaries out there. It's up to each and every one of us to make a difference. Why do I work? I work for my 12-year-old daughter. That's who I work for, because I owe her an America that was better than the America I grew up in. And it's not going to happen unless we get involved. As much as you'd like to think it can, as much as you want to put this country's future in other people's hands, it takes all of us to make a difference. That's what makes Lockheed Martin what it is. You got a good organization. Don't let some bad apples take it away from you. They didn't deserve that right. Your children deserve the right to get the jobs here. The under 25, that's the future of Lockheed Martin. But if you don't get involved, bad people have a field day. So if you're sitting in this audience and you don't think you count, then I really am afraid. Get involved. Make a difference. And as you go through the world trying to make a difference, may the dice always be with you. I thank you for your time and attention. See you later. Thank you.